excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth, is it true that your dad has a ringside seat but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome. Yeah! Give it up for Claire.
We hate it! You already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your premier source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal, and the energies are down a little bit. The vibe is down just a little bit because your boy not doing so great. Your boy is he's feeling kind of under the weather, but time waits for no man. And no live stream goes unrecorded in this house. So here we are talking to you live every Tuesday about all things NWA, whether we feeling good or we feeling bad. So we're here. We're going to try to get through this with a little bit of a energy drink and a little bit of a good attitude. And hopefully you guys carry me today and make this show more fun because, dowdy. I have one of those summer colds, summer flus. I don't know what to even call it. Temperatures have been up above the hundreds in the last few days, and spent most of yesterday sneezing my head off, and today I just don't have it, guys. I just, man, I look rough too. Wow. Oof. Anyways, so we're here. We're talking wrestling. You guys are here talking wrestling, so I think we're going to have a good time together talking wrestling. First thing I want to do, acknowledge and congratulate our boy Danny Limelight, 600 days plus now as world's heavyweight champion. Danny Limelight has been the standard bearer for what you'd want for your world heavyweight champion, whether that be taking his United Wrestling Network championship to Texas or to Puerto Rico or even to Mexico. Danny Limelight has continued to raise the bar for the United Wrestling Network in a time where they're struggling. They are. We haven't had new content from the United Wrestling Network in quite some time. And the rumor mill is that some of their content is starting to dry up. So don't be shocked if you see some new stuff that was filmed in Irvine with the West Coast Pro Wrestling. That might be happening. I do want to say what's up to everyone in the chat. I see that Bobby Batito is here. Willie Bowen is here. Noob is here. Sean Mega's in the house. What is up, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Willie Bowen with the Tyrus joke of the day. Hey, Jay Cal, there was an ice statue of Tyrus in Long Beach. It melted, and now it's the Long Beach Harbor. Yeah, Tyrus is a big dude. Tyrus is a very big dude. Noob wants to know how you all are doing. Seems like the road to the NWA 76 is nothing but a sluggish one. We are not moving at a fast pace. I will say that. And that's the problem with the taping schedule that the NWA has currently has developed now. we don't get a lot of action. Everything that they filmed for the 76 has been filmed already. You know what I mean? Like, how can I say this in a way that I want to express myself? By filming things out of order, we're getting things a little bit differently with the NWA. Of course, they did that whole month of TV taping before they filmed Crockett Cup, and then are inserting those matches after the Crockett Cup. That's what we're watching right now. Then soon we'll be watching the Return of the Territories, which will feature some more of the talent from the territory system of the NWA. And this is all supposed to tie together for the 76, and I just don't see how that's going to happen. It feels very disconnected. So, I mean, maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they'll pull that out. But it just right now, it doesn't seem very connected. They crowned a new champion, the NWA Mid-American champion, and they have yet to feature that champion on TV, let alone on the territories defending the title. And that's the other thing. I mean, they're crowning so many new championships. Exodus Pro is crowning a new women's championship in conjunction with Mission Pro, which I like the idea of a title that will connect those two wrestling promotions. But then, like, where does that title rank with the other ones? And if we don't see it on television, does it even matter? You know, it just, I feel like one of the things Dave Lagana used to say was that the NWA didn't need more belts, they needed less belts. And now I feel like everybody gets a championship title. And the champ might be in the chat at some point. What do you mean, Sean? What do you mean by that? I would love to have Danny Limelight come back on, but it's been a weird dynamic for the United Wrestling Network. Just because, you know, the main television show, Championship Wrestling, has kind of been on the back burner. And I know they're still doing new content in Memphis, but Derby City has halted to a stop. So it's kind of disappointing now. I know there's a lot of big plans coming with working with Booker T. There's been no formal announcement yet, but something is happening in Texas with Booker T. I think United Wrestling Network fans will be very happy if that all comes to fruition from what I've heard and read. Excuse me. I'm really not feeling great today, guys. So thank you for being here, number one. Number two, help pick me up, man, because I need you guys today. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the NWA. Of course, they have made some more formal announcements for the NWA's 76th anniversary pay-per-view. Of course, that pay-per-view takes place on August 31st in the city of brotherly love at the Swanson Arena, the 2300 Arena. There are going to be offering a meet and greet to start the show off, which, you know, that's something that was pretty common for the NWA earlier in its practices with its pay-per-views. So I'm glad to see that it's returning. You know, the stars of the NWA, if you will. It looks like these are still your champions. You know, your EC3 is your world's heavyweight champion, Kenzie Page, your women's champion, Blunt Force Trauma, your tag team champions, Maxine Paler, your unified TV champion, Tom Latimer, your national champion. The match, they did announce the return of the Burke Invitational. That tournament is not tournament, excuse me, but more like a gauntlet that will be part of the 76th anniversary. And they've already announced 3 names for that. Of course, Holly Hood, Haley J has been announced, as well as Kayla Rossi. To add to that mix now, they've also throughout the name Misty Marks. So that we have, you know, the beginnings of a Burke Invitational there. We also have a matchup to crown a U.S. Tag Team Champion. And I say that I said that wrong. It's not a match to crown a new champion. It's just a match for the titles. The Slime Balls will take on the Country Gentlemen with Joe Kazana with the Fixers, and Talos and Daisy Kills with Vampiro. This one feels very thrown together. I feel like they just took what was in the pot and threw it at the wall to see what would stick. I feel like that's very jumbled up and very kind of kooky, if you will. And then, of course, you have the grudge match between Knox and Murdoch versus the Southern Six. You have the 2023 Crockett Cup Tournament champion winners and the Crockett Cup 2024 tournament champion winners in a grudge match. They've also had matches in the steel cage recently. They have had quite a bit of a feud for a while, so we'll see where this all lays out. A number one contenders match for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship as Alex Misery takes on Jack Cartwheel. And, of course, the newly announced Women's World Tag Team title match. The King Bees defend their titles against the It Girls, Ella Envy and Samantha Storm. Excuse me, not Samantha Storm, Samantha Starr. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to, those matches are going to plan out. Of course, I definitely like that pairing of Samantha Starr and Ella Envy. We've been talking about it for weeks that the NWA needs more women tag team wrestlers. And if Samantha Starr is medically cleared to wrestle, to return to the ring, her and Ella Envy, I think, would make a very good addition to the women's tag team roster. If Ella Envy were to win the tag titles, which that's a big if, nobody's beaten the King Bees thus far, she would have won the tag titles with 4 different partners. That's pretty outstanding, if you ask me. She won one with Roxy. She won one with Kylie. She won one with Kenzie. So if she were to win again, she would, with Samantha Starr, that would be 4 different partners that she won the tag titles with. That's pretty impressive. Maybe you could argue that Ella Envy is the greatest women's tag team wrestler in the NWA. Some more of you guys' comments. Steve G's in the house. What's up, Steve? Chris German says, do the NWA think people are going to show up no matter the card in Philadelphia? Chris, yeah, I mean, how do we determine that? How do we know? I would say that, look, the NWA has had some success just kind of putting a card together and hoping for the best. There was not much of an announced card for Forney, Texas, but Forney, Texas is a place that hasn't had a lot of big-time wrestling. Of course, they've got the TSW there, but, you're not going to see a lot of those the people that wrestled for the NWA at the TSW shows. Likewise, like Dothan, Alabama, again, it's a place that was starved for wrestling. I don't know what the Philly contingency is going to look like. I feel like they have to bring in somebody. They're going to have some name to draw in that Philly crowd base, because sure, people like me will travel to go to an NWA event of this caliber. I know there's a couple people in the chat, a couple people on the Discord who have already made their plans to be at that 76th anniversary show. But I don't think you're going to get the casual wrestling fan just because you're throwing an NWA event in Philly. And if that's what the NWA is counting on, I think they're going to be severely disappointed. You need to have, this is the 2300 Arena. You want it to look good on TV. You're going to be filming 4 months worth of wrestling there. I think you have to. You have to put your best foot forward. So I don't know what the main event is going to be advertised as. EC3's opponent has not been named yet. We still don't know who Tom Latimer's facing. There's still a lot of questions about who's going to face who for the show. So there's still opportunity for them to announce a big name. But as of right now, it doesn't look like I don't know what their plan is, to be quite honest with you. Bobby says, it's great to see Jack Cartwheel have another match at the NWA. And the funny thing about Cartwheel appearing for the NWA now, he has wrestled for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship 3 times in the NWA. Remember, he challenged Colby Corino unsuccessfully. He challenged Joe Alonzo unsuccessfully. And way back at the World as a Vampire tour in Mexico City, he and Sal the Pal took on Kerry Morton in a triple threat match for the World Junior Heavyweight title. So he's kind of cemented himself as a regular for the NWA and that junior heavyweight division. And, a number one contender spot is nothing to just ignore. That's a pretty big deal. And Alex Misery, we've seen a little bit of him, but I'd venture to guess that it really is anyone's game. And I think if I'm the NWA, I want to be in the Jack Cartwheel business. He's got TV time with AEW and Ring of Honor. He's been featured heavily on AAA programming. And if I could attach my company, my vessel, to a rocket like that, I definitely want to do that. And, and he connects with the crowd really well. I've always been impressed by Cartwheel's ability to connect with the crowd, even though it's something silly as doing a cartwheel. Those cartwheels are meaningful for the audience. And I know that sounds stupid, right? It sounds dumb, but it's true. Watch when he starts going like this and the fans start cheering. Like, it's nuts. It's just, it's weird. So I like it, and I hope he gets more bookings with the NWA. Of course, at some point, though, Cartwheel is going to get picked up by somebody else and sign a deal somewhere else. But until then, use them for as often as you can. Willie says Steve G, my favorite lady wrestlers on WoW is Princess Aussie, Jessie Jones, Fury, Reina Del Rey, Gigi Gianni, Adriana Gambino, Vicky Lynn McCoy, Tormenta, and The Beast. Not a bad list, Willie. Bobby says, I'd like to see La Rosa Negra in the Burke Invitational Gauntlet match. You know what? That might happen. I would be shocked if it didn't happen. Dave Valentine's here. What's up, Dave? He says the It Girls need a new name. I kind of like it, Dave. I think it's like the It crowd, the hip, like the It. Yeah, I guess we could workshop the name, but I think it works fine for them. The Pretty Empowered was such a great name, and the team and the group was such a good dynamic. It'll be interesting if that translates to Ella, and if that will translate well with Ella and Samantha Starr. Excuse me just a second here, guys. All right. So Willie says Savannah Stone, Rekka Tahaka, Allison Kay, Freya the Slayer, Rosemary, Jessica Havoc, Camille, and Jordan Grace. Okay. Willie's talking about the ladies he likes in pro wrestling. Bobby says, I'm thinking Tom Latimer's opponent for 76 could be Silas Mason. It could be. I just feel like that's something that they've already done, Let me take a drink here. I mean, I guess they haven't done that, but they did push Silas into that national division. He won the title. He was chasing EC3 for the title. He won the title. Then he forfeited the title to pursue the World's Heavyweight Championship. So they could, but it just seems like we're chasing the same stick here. Like, I would like for them to do something new and different with Silas Mason and for Tom Latimer. Jay Cal, will we see more NWA Territories wrestling on YouTube? I don't know, Willie. That's a great question, and I don't have a good answer for you. I feel like we were discussing this on the Discord, that a lot of these streaming services that were offering wrestling on some of the NWA territories on their packages have disappeared. And I really feel like YouTube is a viable option. Why Exodus Pro isn't on YouTube or Crossfire, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like if you're making wrestling in 2024, you should have people filming it, and it should be filmed in a way that people can see it and digest it, and it looks good. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be polished. It just has to look good. If you got somebody out there with a Super 8, VHS recorder, then I'm going to tell you that you need to upgrade your production. But I mean, geez, you look at some of the iPhone and Android capabilities on cell phones these days. You can record in 4K, and the little rigs to make them, stabilize and record the audio. I mean, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to do this. If you're going to put all that money, time, effort, and energy to put on a wrestling show, if you do a wrestling show and you sell tickets, you make money once. If you do a wrestling show, you sell tickets and you record it and sell the DVD or pay-per-view or put it up on YouTube or something, you're continuing to make money off of something you've paid for once. So I don't know. As a business owner, I think that you'd be dumb not to do that, to film your wrestling. And when you got company like Crossfire or Exodus Pro or NWA Chicago, any one of these promotions, I just can't figure out why they aren't producing content on YouTube. Doesn't make any sense to me. EC3 versus Silas versus Latimer. I mean, that's one way to go too. But again, they haven't advertised who the main event is going to be yet. And I think that is a calculated risk because you could take this time to be building up this challenger, whomever it is. The problem with that, though, is, they announced Sam Adonis for the NWA Crockett Cup, and they did nothing to promote him on television. They did nothing to promote him on social media as the challenger for the 10 pounds of gold. So I feel like even if it's EC3 or Silas or whoever, Tom Latimer as the main event, like, unless they're going to build it up, it really doesn't matter. And I think you don't need to go surprise, you don't need to go surprise opponent. They should have somebody and they should be building them up because, again, that's how you're going to sell tickets, at least to me. Ella Envy is great, Bobby. I agree with you. I think Ella Envy is one of the workhorse women of the NWA right now. I think when you watch Ella Envy wrestle, she's obviously spent a lot of time on her physical appearance. She looks good. She's toned up a lot, and like her wrestling is very crisp. And one of the things that I love about Ella Envy is like she makes you believe. She'll sell in a way that's believable, and she does the little things that I feel like are so important. Watch her in the ring. Watch how she doesn't waste a lot of movements. Again, I have a lot of respect for Ella Envy as the wrestler, and I can't wait to see what's next for her. Steve, not really. There's not really a whole lot more to be talking about. I know that they were looking for September. They were looking at July. They were looking at September. Now I think it's going to be October before we see anything. I know that they're running out of reserves, so they're going to have to produce something soon. Otherwise, they're going to not have new content for the channels for the markets that they're producing. So we'll have to wait and see. Silas and Tom next week. Okay. I mean, I haven't. So as a rule of thumb, I never watch Power before I do the pre-party with Jay Cal. It's always afterwards because I like to come into this with the idea of this as being the pre-show. I know that the NWA changed that up on us when they decided to start dropping it just Tuesdays. They just drop it in the morning. But I still kind of treat this show as a preview show to what you're going to see tonight on Power. And I don't know what next week is going to have. So Silas and Tom next week would be a fun match. But again, it's like, I feel like we've already seen that before. Richard Holiday needs more eyes on him in Exodus Pro. See, Richard Holiday is the guy that I think is the guy that should be the opponent for EC3 on the 76th anniversary show. They did a great job building that up at Exodus Pro, but this could easily spill into Power. And you have a lot of footage shot from Exodus Pro. All this stuff could be like intertwined into things that they've already produced for Power. They could be building this matchup up. And having EC3 versus Richard Holiday, I think, is a great way to advertise the 10 pounds of gold. I think people would be interested in seeing that match, especially if there's even a lick of chance that Richard Holiday could walk away with the 10 pounds of gold. I just think that's a great idea. What is up to Jeremy, my boy? Hope you're doing well. Steve G says the NWA should pick up Viva Van. I don't think that they can afford Viva Van at this point. Viva Van's working with New Japan Strong. She's getting dates with CMLL and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't think they could get her at this point. Yes, thank you, Jeremy. If you're enjoying the show, how about giving a thumbs up, share, and leave a comment after the live stream? It does help the algorithm. Noob says that Natalia Markova definitely needs to build her. They need to build her up as a challenger for either the women's TV title or the Burke, because her booking has been very messy since last year. I think if I'm the NWA, she's the one that I'm going to use to take the TV title off of Maxine Paler. She's had very strong outings against Max in the past, and if you're not going to just strip Max of the TV title, her winning the TV title could get her in the line for the Burke, but it also would really cement her legacy as one of the bigger deals in the women's division. I mean, if you beat Max for a title, that's a pretty big deal. So, and you know, it's not like they haven't used Markova in situations where she's wrestling bigger opponents. You know, they did throw her in the Crockett Cup against Tim Storm and Jack Stane, and then later against Murdoch and Knox. So it wouldn't surprise me. They don't even have to build on TV. They can do 10 pounds of gold as an option. So, Sean, we just don't know what the deal is, right? We don't know what the plan is for the NWA, and I don't know what they can and can't shoot and film for YouTube anymore. You know, I don't know what they gave up with the CW. And the crazy thing is, it's like we are 2 months away from October, and that's when the WWE goes live on the NXT platform, not the app, but on their over-the-air antenna and channel. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out, because you have the WWE on the network broadcasting side, and then you have the NWA on the app. So there could be people looking for NXT on the CW app finding the NWA. So it'll be weird. It'll be interesting. Bobby Petito says Jack Cartwheel would be a great opponent for Alex Taylor. It'd be a fun match. I definitely agree with you there. Steve G says Markova's built. Just give her the strap. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more you could do to build her to being a credible opponent, except for just giving her the W, you know. She already burned out all her opportunities for championship gold as of late. I know I'm a parrot for this, but the NWA may treat her like a star, but booking-wise, not so much. Yeah, I mean, I get it, Noob, because I know that Markova is one of your favorites to watch. Markova has some great skills in the ring, but has not been put in a position to be successful. So I don't know what their plan is with Markova. I don't know what they want to do with Markova. But, I feel like if they put her in the TV title picture and gave her a victory over Maxine Paler, like that would be a huge way to kick off her TV title run. That's what they want to do. Who would you like to see in the Burke Invitational Gauntlet match that haven't got announced? So I'm of the volition that I don't think we're going to see many talents from WoW appear in the Burke Invitational, but Hollywood Haley J is in there, Kyla Rossi is in there, and Misty Marks is in there. I guess if I'm going to throw out names, I probably would want to see, on the NWA roster, I'd like to see Taylor Rising in that one. I'd like to see Ruthie J and La Rosa Negra. I think all three of those ladies would be good candidates. Of course, Tiffany Nieves. You could probably even throw in Reka Tahaka as well, outside of the NWA. And I know that they've started using J-Rod already, but J-Rod would be someone who I think would be a good addition to the roster. I think J-Rod, it just depends on who they have an idea in using. I mean, Heather Monroe, I think, is still available out there. Ray Lynn is still available out there. There's a lot of talented females out there if they're looking to use them. I just don't know what their plan is. And it's kind of hard to kind of guess what their plan is without really knowing it. But J-Rod, I think, would be the one that I think she would look really good for the division. She'd look really good for the NWA. Willie Bowen says Freya the Slaya. There you go. That would be a good one. Sam Retro's in the house. What's up, Sam? Freya the Slaya should be in the Burt Gauntlet match. Yeah, Willie, I'm with you on that one. I like that one. I'd like to see Promise Braxton. I don't know who Promise Braxton is, Sean. Send me someone for work. I don't know who that is. Jeez, Jeremy. Not so subtle there, are you? Excuse me. I'm a little under the weather, if you guys can't tell. You got a little bit of pulled back Jay Cal this week, and I apologize for that. But we're here. We're live. We're talking NWA Wrestling. And, we were talking about that title that will be a bridge between Mission Pro and Exodus Pro, and that's the new NWA Exodus Women's Championship. Now, it had a different name before the Atlantia title, and now you have Kelsey Heather and Miranda Elise, who are representing Mission Pro Wrestling. And they'll be in the ring with Tiffany Nieves and Kylie Page. This will be a 4-way match at Journey 2 to crown a new Exodus Pro Women's Champion. Now, if I'm just guessing, I'm going to say Tiffany Nieves wins this one because of her work that she's been doing with Exodus Pro and the fact that she's been doing a lot of work with Mission Pro as well. What do you guys think? Who do you see going over on that one? Bobby brings up the Woad. That's right. Weapons of Mass Destruction. We haven't seen her in a while either. But, who do you guys think walks away from this one as the Exodus Pro Women's Champion? I mean, it's kind of I haven't seen much of Kelsey Heather, but I think the world of Tiffany Nieves. Miranda Elise is really solid in the ring. And then Kylie's pretty good too. Bobby Petito's saying Kylie Page wins this one. I wouldn't be shocked if she did. And again, this is where I feel like the NWA struggles, right? Because now that's just one more title. Joe Kazana Promotions has a women's title. And then, that's 2 women's titles in addition to the TV title and the Women's World Championship on Power. I just feel like that might be a little bit too much. And then if Mission Pro continues to work with the NWA, it could be a lot. So tonight's episode of Power is going to feature Zion, Austin Idol's Zion versus Black Jesus Mims in a singles match. Now, I like how they're trying to build this up. They've been talking about it a lot on Power, where Zion and Mims fought each other before, and Austin Idol took some liberties with Mims, and now how that's not going to happen because Black Cheese is around. And I love that they're putting the importance back on Black Cheese as the manager who helped cultivate the culture of success and winning at Idolmania Sports Management. Remember, they did the Idolmania Sports Management in conjunction with the Church's Money. And during that time, we saw guys like the original Scion win the NWA national title. We saw Jordan Clearwater win the NWA TV title. And then Tyrus winning the World's Heavyweight Championship. That was all under the Idolmania Sports Management Church's Money conglomerate that they were promoting. I'll never forget it. The Hard Times 3 in Chalmette, Louisiana, when they were celebrating the ring, and you had 3 out of the 4 championship titles were just in the ring celebrating. And it was such a cool moment. And not so much because I liked Tyrus, but just to see, like, that's the closest thing that we've had to as a modern day 4 horsemen in the NWA, where you had these 4 guys hold 3 of the 4 championships. Of course, Marche Rocket was there, but then the next night he wasn't because That's the same night that they introduced us to blunt force trauma. I wonder why. Willie Bowen says Tiffany Nieves wins in the women's Mission Pro Exodus Pro title match. Bobby Petito says, I like that we're seeing Black G's on the NWA again. Yeah, I feel like Black G's is a guy who, he was kind of training with, I don't want to say training, that's not the right word, but he was the voice for Tyrus up until he became world's heavyweight champion. Black G's was there, and he kind of led and directed to that portion of his career. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Black G's giving some credibility to the manager role in the NWA. I really haven't felt like they've done that with Austin Idol. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been there since day one. He technically took Nick Aldis to his first World's Heavyweight Championship. Sorry, guys. But he's kind of been on the back burner. And with the Zion and the Scion and everything else, it just feels like it doesn't feel like Idolmania Sports Management is what it used to be. And I think the big reason for that is because Black G's is now on his own again. And if that means that Mims is given better opportunities and taken more seriously in the NWA, then I'm all for it. I really am. I really think that could be what was keeping Mims back, and we'll see. Hopefully that's all that it is. Sam Retro says Markova for the new NWA Women's Champion. Now, are you talking about the Burke, or are you talking about the TV title, Mr. Retro? I'm interested to see what you have to say about that. I don't know why I said it so weird like that. We're going to see the return of Colby Corino to the NWA. We haven't seen Colby Corino in a long, long time. In fact, Colby Corino, famously on the intro, standing on that cage set to start Power. Him and Misery are two of the remaining junior heavyweights of the division that now includes world champion Alex Taylor. And again, these matches were filmed months ago, so we hadn't seen either Misery or Corino at the Crockett Cup. We didn't see either one of them in quite some time, so it's nice to have them both back on TV. Of course, Colby Corino is the former world junior heavyweight champion, lost to Joe Alonzo in the very, I believe that was at Salwen, and I don't think he ever received a rematch for that title, so he could be gunning for another opportunity. And of course, we know that Misery and Jack Cartwheel will square off as the number one contenders at the 76th anniversary show. So I'm not saying I know who wins this match, but I'm saying that I wouldn't be surprised if we see Alex Misery take the victory tonight. And Retro meant the Burke. Okay, I got you. I mean, I'll say this, and it's kind of like how I felt with Camille. When Camille was women's world champion, I felt like she did everything she could as women's world champion. There wasn't nothing left for her to prove, but there was no one I felt good enough to take the title off of her. Kenzie was the closest one, and I still feel like maybe she was, maybe she wasn't the right choice. I don't know. But Camille loses the title, Kenzie wins it, and now Kenzie's held the title for nearly a year. We're rapidly approaching that 1 year mark. And I don't know that there's anyone better on the roster to take the belt off of her. Markova could be that person. The other thing, too, is I feel like the title reigns in the NWA, they don't have to be for a whole year. And I wouldn't be shocked if, Markova won the title and then lost it back to Kenzie. You know what I mean? Like, holding the title for a year doesn't really do a whole lot unless there's a lot of accolades to go with it. And so far, I don't feel like that's been the case. Steve G says, Jay Cal, is NXT still going to be on Tuesdays when they move to CW? That's what I kind of understand. As I'm looking here on my calendar, on October 1st is a Tuesday. and that's when I believe they're going to be in St. Louis for the first NXT on the CW. So yeah, they'll still be releasing those on. I believe it's still going to be on Tuesdays. Yeah, unless unless they said something different that I missed. Then we're going to be for tonight's Power. We're reintroduced to the Stu Crew, as they'll be defending the Joe Kazana Promotions Southeast Tag Team Championships against the Miserably Faithful. And see, this is where I'm talking about, like, I enjoy the Stu Crew. I'm glad that they're getting the opportunity to defend the Joe Kazana Promotions titles. But doesn't that feel like those belts are watered down now, because you also have the U.S. Tag Champions, who we just saw crowned last week, plus the World Tag Team Champions? I just feel like maybe on the territory level they could, galvanize those championships into, one team that would wrestle around the entire territories. And again, we don't have to put these, they don't have to be long-term title reigns. They could be short. You could have Stu Crew win the tag titles and then drop them to, the slime balls at Exodus Pro, only for, Mario Pardua and somebody else to win them at another show, only to drop them at another show. It's like, we don't need to have long-term title reigns for the territories. Steve G says, laugh out loud, the NWA and NXT on Tuesdays on CW. Yeah, well, what'll be interesting too is, and someone else smartened me up to this, but the NXT television show is basically going to be a vessel to advertise Peacock. Now think about it. Every NXT episode is going to lead to a signature premiere live event on Peacock, where they do their, those pay-per-views, those quarterly pay-per-views for NXT, all the WCW named pay-per-views, like the No Way Out or whatever they are. I don't remember now, but each and every one of those 3-hour specials will air on Peacock. So you're taking your CW fan base and sending them to the Peacock, which is competition. And you would think that the CW would have been like, hey, let's get those views, let's get those premium live events on our streaming services, but no. So every time that they do a NXT takeover or whatever they're calling them now, those are going to be on Peacock. So each episode of what's happening on NXT on CW is going to be advertising for Peacock. It just seems kind of funny. And then you've got the NWA on NXT, or the NWA on the CW app, and it might be smart for CW to advertise that they have wrestling on the app as well. I don't know. It just it's interesting. So yeah, going back to the Stu Crew, so they'll be defending the tag titles against the Miserably Faithful, Sal the Pal, and Gags the Gimp. And I'm really sure you're all excited about this one. I actually enjoy the Stu Crew. I think they're a pretty fun babyface tag team. And when you watch them in Joe Kazana Promotions, they are over like Rover. So that's a lot of fun. I am hoping that's going to be a squash match, though, because I don't really care to see Sal and Gags all that much. David Valentine with his late faking news. Kenzie and Kylie Page refused to sign long contracts with the NWA. They're heading to Ohio Valley. Well, we know that's not true, though, David, because they both have formally announced that they had signed contracts with the NWA. So, not this time, sir. You're not going to get me. And then also in tag team action, we're going to see the Dark City Violence Connection taking on the Immortals. Now, the Dark City Violence Connection, I believe, is kind of like an heir from the Dark City Fight Club. That if you've been a fan of the NWA for a while, you might remember the Dark City Fight Club, former NWA World Tag Team Champions. They were some bad dudes, and if it's the same, which I don't think it's the same, but if they are the heir apparents to the Dark City Fight Club, taking on the Immortals, should be a very hard-hitting match. And again, the Immortals, we don't know what's going to happen with them for the 76th anniversary show. You know, they did get the pinfall victory against Blunt Force Trauma at the Crockett Cup to advance in the tournament. So we might see something there. We might see a World Tag Team title match, which I'm really hoping that's what we get, because I feel like seeing Kratos and Odinson in the title picture. Number one, the tag team title picture in the NWA isn't really good from either side of the spectrum. When you have the women's division struggling to have just opponents, and then on the men's side, it's just been Blunt Force Trauma by hook or by crook. I feel like it would be interesting to see a change there. And again, Aaron Stevens took his men, the Blunt Force Trauma, to win those tag titles at last year's 76th anniversary show. So they're coming up on a year as well. It might be time for them to drop the belts as well. And, maybe that happens at the 76. We don't know. But getting back to tonight's matchup, Odinson and Kratos have done all that they need to do to prove themselves to be two of the toughest dudes on the roster. So depending on how tonight's Dark City Violence Connection match goes, this could be leading us to a World Tag Team title match. And I think some of you guys agree with me. At least Sam Retcher does. Immortals for the tag champs. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Kratos on a singles run by himself, but until that day happens, if putting him in another successful tag team group would be fine by me. Remember, Kratos individually has held the world tag titles with Aaron Stevens and the U.S. tag titles with Odinson. So for him to win the tag titles for a second time with Odinson, this time being the world tag titles, I think that would really set him up and his legacy up as being one of the better tag team wrestlers of the modern era of the NWA. So, it's looking pretty good for tonight's episode of Power. I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of tag team wrestling. I will say this, that I have a lot of faith that the NWA will pull together a fun 76th anniversary show, but they need to start announcing these matches now to get people excited about it. And I feel like, the names that they've announced so far haven't really compelled me to buy a ticket, right? Like, I bought my tickets because, well, I'm a fan of the NWA and I've traveled to see them. It'll be nice to see my boys representing the Alliance there in Philly. But if I was a casual fan tuning in or buying a ticket to see this show, I would have second thoughts, because so far there's not a match on here that's overwhelmingly like, hey, this is going to be a great match. Hey, this is going to be a fun match. In fact, I think the match that has me the most excited is the King Bees versus the It Girls, just because the opportunity that Ella Envy could potentially be a 4-time Women's World Tag Team Champion with 4 different partners, I think is kind of cool. And from that historic standpoint, it would be fun and interesting. But nothing out overwhelming just screams out like, oh, I have to be at this show. Like, there's nothing about this show that's making me like, I need to be there. And I think that's unfortunate. That happened in Forney, Texas as well. I didn't feel like they did enough to attract fans to go buy the tickets. And maybe they don't have to. Maybe it's all about just television and having content for the CW app. But I feel like they should do more. David Valentine says, I hope the NWA signs Megan Bain. She's a beast. Bobby Batista says, I'd like to see more of Mojo Jabari on the NWA. I think I heard Mo Jabari is going to be part of that Jericho cruise. And I guess a lot of NWA female talent will also be on that Jericho cruise. So I don't know, get your tickets ready. You might see NWA matches on that cruise. So to be honest, it's the nostalgia for me. Same thing, Sam. Like, it's the same. Like, I want to be entertained, right? Like, it's a lot of money to go to these things. It costs money to fly. It costs money for a hotel. It costs money to rent a car. It costs money to Uber, whatever you're going to do. I would like to see a return on that investment by giving me good quality wrestling. I was disappointed in Forney. There wasn't very many matches that I was just so over the roof for. In fact, there was a couple of them that I thought were just like drizzling shits, Roswell says more content with low crowd attendance is not good, makes for bad TV. Yeah, I agree with that too. Well, and it doesn't take much to you invested in one person. You invested in one solid match, and that will get people to come. Ideally, you put together an entire event that fans would like to be a part of. But if you gave us one match, and Shawn Michaels says so, EC3 versus Holiday would get you excited. For me personally, yeah. But I'm also a fan of what Richard Holiday can do. I'm familiar with Richard Holiday. I got to see him live and up close 2 times in the last year. I like Richard Holiday a lot. I think he'd be a great fit for the NWA. And I think that the promos could be fire. But they should have decided that before they started selling tickets for 76, and they should have had Holiday at some of these NWA shows to build up this match if that's what they're going to do. And they're giving us a free meet and greet. Well, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I like money. I like saving money. But again, what is you're doing this show? Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. If you're going to put all this money and all this time, effort, and energy into producing an event, it should be an event that people want to go see. And if it's not, what are you doing wrong? And Billy Corgan knows how to sell tickets. You got to remember, the guy is a performer. He knows how to make his fans happy. For whatever reason, I don't feel like that's translating from his music career to his wrestling career. And I hope personally that someone gets through to him and just says, hey, what's the draw? Because the NWA isn't the draw. Not now. Not anymore. What's the draw? And yeah, it is a draw for guys like me and guys like Retro and some of you guys in the chat. But at the end of the day, what's going to get the average fan to go to an NWA show? And it's not the history of the NWA. And it's not EC3. And it's not the Southern Six. You got to start creating some compelling storylines and give us something to sink our teeth into. And so far, they haven't done that. It's been a long time since they've done that. And I feel like that's what's going to hurt them the most in the long run. Retro says EC3 versus Holiday is 76 material. Shawn Michaels says, well, I hope they book that match. Bobby Batito says Richard Holiday is awesome opponent for EC3. Dave Valentine says, I want the NWA to do something for the international fans so they can access the product. Yeah, all of these things. What was the draw for Tyrus? That's a great question, Steve. Look, I was in St. Louis. There were people there wanting to see Tyrus, wanting to see him wrestle, wanting to see him win. I'll say this too. I recorded his retirement speech and threw it up on my YouTube account on this page right now that you're watching from. And it's one of the most viewed videos that I have. And it generates a couple of bucks every month. And that was almost a year ago, and it's still generating revenue. It's one of the most successful videos I've posted. That one and the Ronda Rousey one. And I'm telling you, someone was excited about Tyrus in the NWA. Not me, but somebody was. I just don't see what's going on now that makes me excited. You know what I mean? I'm not jacked up for it. I'm jacked up to see you guys. But if we don't get a decent world's title match, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm glad that they put Samantha Starr and LNV together to challenge for the tag titles, but nothing else on the card has showed me that they're super inspired. Nothing has showed me that this is going to be a great night of wrestling. It just seems like they're pulling the pieces out. Okay, well, let's see. We need to get as many guys on the TV show as we can, so let's have a 4-man U.S. tag team match. Why? Why not just build up one tag team to challenge Daisy, Kill, and Talos? I think I'd much rather enjoy Country Gentlemen versus Daisy and Talos feud than a 4-man tag match with the Fixers and the Slime Balls. It just doesn't make sense to me. But, all right. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being here on this Tuesday. A Tuesday that I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the fuel. You guys powered me through this. I really appreciate you. You helped get me through the show this week. We'll be back on Thursday, of course, for the Alliance Guys podcast, Jaden, DKM, and myself. But also in half an hour, we're going to be joined by Andrew Pacina of Epic Pro Wrestling, and we'll be previewing their card that's coming up this Sunday, this Saturday, August 10th. We'll be previewing their card, which is going to feature the likes of Bad Dude Tito, Shane Haste, Josh Alexander, and a lot of other great talents. Epic Pro, one of my favorite wrestling promotions out here in Southern California. And I'll be talking to Andrew in just about half an hour about that show. So thank you guys for being a part of this week's live stream. And again, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for keeping this show up and at them. And until next time, I'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.